Hello, everyone, in my Christina Lynn voice. Today's episode, we'll be talking about long distance relationships and could they be ideal for this generation that we're living in. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Relationships and Chill, the podcast for singles and couples about how to find and cultivate the relationship you've always dreamed of, based on trust and honest communication. Why waste your time going through the typical dating obstacle course, only to end up with drama, jealousy, and heartbreak, when you can find the love of your life and live happily ever after? So sit back, chill, and get ready to make relationships great again.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Relationships and Chill. I am your host, Coach R. Anthony. You hanging with the three coaches today. Coach R. Anthony, we got my lovely wife coach. Coach Lulu is in the building. Y'all give it up for her.
Hey, everybody.
Yes, y'all. And of course, we got Christina, Coach Christina Lynn, the newly appointed Coach Christina Lynn is in the building. Say what's up to Coach. Say what's up, Coach Christina Lynn.
What's up?
Welcome. We're gonna be bringing the children in. Yeah, the children love. All right, y'all. Today's episode, we're gonna be talking about long distance relationships. And could they work? I mean, we live in a technological society, and back in the days they used to write each other letters back in the days. So you know what I'm saying? So you remember Aaliyah's 4-page letter? She wrote a 4-page letter. She didn't write no email. She ain't, make no phone. She ain't fax. She sent a 4-page letter, and guess what she did?
What'd she do?
She sealed it with a kiss. You know what I'm saying? When the last time y'all sealed something with a kiss? You can't do that. It's been a long time, right? Well, I guess emojis you can kind of do that. You can seal it with a kiss, but you ain't writing no 4-page letter though. Maybe a 4-paragraph letter.
Yeah.
4-paragraph.
Maybe.
A 4-sentence text.
Yeah, it's 4-sentence text. That's actually a lot.
Right.
That's kind of a lot though.
4-sentence text.
Yeah, when you like having a conversation with somebody, especially if you're in a relationship with them, 4 sentences is a good bit.
Yeah, it is.
That's a lot to say, I think.
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
what you be talking about? No.
I mean, 4 sentences. I don't know. What could you be talking about with 4 sentences? But anyway, I see a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to be in a long distance relationship because they feel like the closeness is not close enough. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess some people consider a long distance relationship about 4 hours away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they consider it to be like a good distance away to where you might only be able to see each other on the weekends or monthly or every few months. So I think that's really, I don't know. I think it's odd, as far as how people dictate what is considered to be a long distance relationship. So, anywho, the problem that people run into is they meet a lot of people local, but if they're still having issues meeting people, I think it's good to venture out to people that are outside of your vicinity, because just because you live in an area doesn't mean that you're going to have the best possible person. Like for me and my woman, I live in Georgia. We live in Georgia now, but I lived in Georgia at the time and she lived in Canada.
Right.
So it didn't stop my search.
Yeah, and my man was in New York and I was in Michigan.
There you go.
I mean, he's in Michigan now, but yeah.
So I think the problem that a lot of people run into is in your local area, you tend to run across people with similar mind states, similar mind frames.
Right.
And especially if you live in a small city. If you live in a small city or a small area, you're going to pretty much run out of options pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna run out of options to where you're gonna have to start venturing out. But with the internet nowadays, back in the day, like I said, they were writing letters to each other, but they would meet each other at the train station, at the juke joint, at the car wash, or like
a local diner.
The diner.
Local diner. That's true.
They would meet, in passing, probably on a plane ride, or I don't know how people would. I couldn't imagine how people were meeting each other back then. Obviously, it had to be
church or
church,
these community gatherings and stuff.
Yeah, it had to be face to face.
Probably a lot of that. Yeah, I think so.
That's kind of weird when you think about it, because now I couldn't imagine not being able to have the internet.
Mm-mm.
A lot of the things that we do, I mean, people apply for jobs on the internet.
That's right.
You find restaurants to go to from on the internet.
I be Googling my ailments, like if my Achilles heel is down toward.
Everything we do is online. Yeah. You get your doctor. You trying to figure out what's going on with you online.
That's right.
They didn't really have
WebMD.
Yeah, WebMD. I did a lot of WebMD. Yeah, for real. But like I said, the problem that a lot of people run into is I think people get in their own ways in terms of the things they've heard about long distance relationships, and especially when you incorporate like online dating into that process. But then when you incorporate online dating, it's more than likely going to be somebody who is not in your vicinity. 9 times out of 10 on most online dating websites, you're going to run into it because it opens up the floodgates. It opens up the areas that you can contact people. You're not just limited to where you are. You're limited to you're unlimited. As long as the people are available, because actually we met online, and we wouldn't have had this great relationship if you have a mentality where you don't want to be online and meet people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Then you miss out on a lot of possible great relationships. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think people limit themselves, and that's how, of course, me and my wife met on Insta Facebook, so to speak. We met on Insta Facebook. So I think people get into the habit of, first of all, fears that people feel like if they are in a long distance relationship, that person has opportune time to do whatever they're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna cheat on them, they're gonna have another whatever going on, they're gonna have all this stuff going on. But at the end of the day, they could do that living in the same house with you, sleeping in the same bed with you.
Exactly. But you know what's so funny though? I think, like I know for me, at least, like in my man, I remember I used to hear from like my friends and like, different cousins or whatever, and be like, hey, well, how are you guys making a long distance relationship work? Especially being that, there's no intimacy. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, do you trust him? Do you think he's? And I feel like, of course, I trust him, because for me, I was able to get to know him so well, by talking a lot. Like, we had so many conversations, and I think, when you start out physical, as we usually do, we lose a lot of that stuff in translation. It gets lost in translation. So, for me, I was really pleased with the fact that I was able to learn more about him before we got to that place of intimacy, physical intimacy, at least, because we were even more intimate to me before it got physical. At that time, I don't mean now, but yeah, I think we were able to get very intimate, like as opposed to the other relationships I may have had where they started off like, we met face to face, and it escalated to something physical,
pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
I ain't gonna say immediately. I almost said immediately.
Not immediately.
But yeah, I got you.
Not immediately. Not immediately.
I almost slipped up and said immediately.
I'm not a sex symbol now.
Hey, watch it.
Hey.
Watch it.
But you get to learn a person, and you feel way more secure in that respect.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
My woman is over here.
I'm just watching the show.
She is, we just going in. My woman is like, what is going on?
You start bringing popcorn to these podcasts.
Hey,
no, that's right.
We just talk. You know what I'm saying? What you think about it, baby?
Which part?
I mean, which parts you want to talk about?
Covered a whole bunch of topics.
You covered all your topics that you want to talk about. I didn't even look at your
No,
notes.
I said you just you two just went across a whole bunch of different things.
Oh, I mean, you know, it's just anything that stuck with you that you want to interject.
I mean, it's similar to what you were saying. I think a lot of people are just fearful of like the trust thing, but like you said, that could be happening regardless.
Right.
That trust.
And then I felt the same way too with Christina. Like, you know, by the time we met, we were way more intimate intellectually. Than anything else I've ever experienced. Obviously, 'cause now we're married. But
Exactly.
but yeah, so I don't like the more I thought about it, I don't really see too much of a difference between online dating and long distance relationships than having somebody nearby.
Okay.
I think the thing is, you know what I think it is? I think it's just because we're constantly surrounded with all the TV shows and the media and stuff showing how, like, you know, like the two people going on that perfect date and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think just being constantly surrounded with all that, and especially if you have like,
you want that kind of thing.
especially if you have like friends that have their significant others, you know, they get to go to the movies and stuff. But
right.
I mean, if you just keep yourself busy and focused on, you know, your relationship and whatever you're working on.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too big of a difference.
I don't either. I think if you have plans with that person, it makes it a lot easier. Because we made, one thing we did do is make plans to see each other frequently, and it helped to be able to put that kind of stuff off, like you said, going on dates and going to the movies.
That's so true.
And all that kind of stuff. So those plans help you kind of like it's like saving up for a vacation. You know what I mean? Like a big vacation that you want to go to, like the Bahamas or something like that. And you like, okay, everybody else going to Beach Island, South Carolina, or they going to Florida, or they going to California, but I'm about to go to Mahi Mahi, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Bali. What's the name of it? You about to go somewhere nice and tropical. Everybody else is going to brown water places.
Right.
Yeah.
We're spending money every weekend.
Yeah, or spending money every weekend going to the movies, and you know, I'm like, man, I'm about to go up to see my woman in Canada. And Vancouver, I'm gonna be in the mountains. It's gonna be raining. It's gonna be snow. It's gonna be a lot of love making. It's gonna be good food. It's gonna be just a wang dang doodle. And so,
Coachy Lulu, he telling the truth. That's exactly what he would be telling us. I swear, he would be on the phone. Oh, I'm about to be making me some love. I'm about to roll around in the snow.
Yeah. I don't think you ever came to visit me when it was snowing.
Yeah, I did. I was there when it
Oh
snowed.
my goodness.
When?
September?
I mean, definitely no snow.
September. Did I come up there in the snow? I know it was raining like it snowed. I know it was a lot of rain because I came up there in November. I came up there in November of 2014. I could have sworn there was some snow.
We left November.
When did I come up there? October?
I don't know.
Does it snow around that time
you
of the
came
year?
for like a month. No, it doesn't.
Oh, well.
Anyway.
I didn't care what it was. Snow, rain, sleet, or hell. I was going to go.
Got that rain.
I was going to go, and I was going to enjoy my time with my woman. Because like I said, it was a lot of just saving up mentally to spend time with her, because the way I felt about her, I could have just had another woman here, but I didn't feel anything like I felt about her. So to me, you know, and for most men in that situation, the distance means very little. So, you know, as long as y'all have that understanding and y'all can talk about all that kind of stuff and become friends, because like you said, the communication aspect is more intimate than the sex, because when people get and move into sex immediately or close to the beginning of the relationship, that's all they have to fall back on. That's the moment.
That's all about
that.
The sex.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it is the moment that they have been waiting for. Whereas in a long distance relationship, the moment that you're waiting for is to actually be around that person and see that person and be in their presence. The sex is like, okay, we're going to do that. That's like a minor thing, but we've had so much time apart. I just want to be around you so we can just yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. That's right. And another thing too, we build a friendship. We like real bonds and real connection when we're long distance. It's something about it. I don't know. It's like he literally like became like my best friend, and it was so smooth and it was so easy and it was something that just happened because we spoke so much. Then we got to talking about stuff that we weren't talking about, with anybody else, and like, I don't know, just a level of trust was built.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, all you got is to talk, and in that talking, you can start to build that trust through your words. That's why your words are just as important as your actions. You can't have one without the other, especially in a long distance relationship. So I think a lot of people that have that mentality and have a hard time trusting people's words have a hard time trusting people in long distance relationships.
Yeah.
Because if you're under that mentality that actions speak louder than words, you ain't really going to be able to see the actions other than like, I'll call you back in an hour or call you back tomorrow, and then they don't do it. That's the only action. But the words that coincide with that action, that's all you have to really cling on to. And so a lot of things we would do, we could have done with each other. We just couldn't physically touch each other, but like send flowers, send gifts, talk all the time, because that's something I value more now than anything, because face to face we don't really talk as much as we used to, but we know we can always flip the switch and revert back to long, lengthy conversations,
right?
And rebuild.
Yeah, we definitely don't talk as much as we used to.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like face to face, you don't have the opportunity to talk as much. You sleeping, you doing stuff around the house. They doing stuff around the house. Y'all eating, in different places and watching TV in different places. Like things start to grow apart. But just imagine doing that in the first 30, 60 days. That's why a lot of relationships end so abruptly and so quickly. They don't last past 3 months.
Right.
Because it's like, what else were we aiming for? There's nothing really else to aim for. We've already had sex. We went to the movies, went to the zoo. We bowled ourselves out. Yeah. We done ice skating. We done paintball. We did all that stuff. Like we ain't nothing else to do.
Exactly.
Like, they get bored with each other.
That's right.
In 90 days.
In 90. We should do a segment, how to get bored with each other in 90 days.
They don't need no segment on that. They doing that just fine without us. They got that down to a science. I think what we want to do here is give you listeners all avenues, as many avenues as we have, and of course we'll bring more people on to the show to branch out a little bit more. But the basics that we have, I think is good, because me and my wife, of course, have pretty much mastered the long distance relationship to the point that we're married now.
Right.
Yeah.
And we got through that period of time, but we definitely had plans, like you, Christina Lynn, you too. What do you think was the most important thing that you did to keep yourself focused on the transition to be there with you?
Our communication.
Mm-hmm.
That, to discuss plans openly, first of all, to set plans, that was very important. We had to have a plan. And the more we initiated the plans and saw those come and like bear fruit, the more we began to trust each other. That, okay, yeah, we got this. We gonna ride this thing out. And I think that was one of the best things that we could have done together.
Which is communicate. But specifically communicate about what? Like, how do you guys keep each other focused when one starts to kind of like, or did one start to kind of get, I know for us, like there were moments where I was like, man, I can't wait till you move, or, man, I can't wait to move down there, or man, I can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
how do we weather through those moments of like that strong desire? The same question for you too, Christina. Like, how do you weather through those strong feelings of like, I can't even describe that feeling of that longing of wanting to see each other.
Yeah.
And you can't
hard
at the moment. Yeah.
That wasn't easy.
Yeah.
That wasn't easy for me. I know for me, I had to just kind of envision myself. Sometimes I would actually, it's funny because I still have, I still practice this. I used to take this pillow. I had like a body pillow, and I would take the body pillow, wrap myself around it, and pretend like it was him. And so I would just lay there, like, just holding this pillow. And so now I'm so used to the pillow that I hold it anyway.
You're like, I'm here though. I'm right here.
And I got so used to this pillow. I'm thinking it's my baby, but it's so funny because it was just my way of getting through it, and it helped me. I don't know if it'll help y'all, but it helped me.
What about you, baby? I know for me, I just want to say it's worth it though. That the moments that it does happen is really, really worth it.
Yeah. I remember for us, like we would just like try and increase like as much as possible, like whatever we could do for one another, whether it's during those times, make sure we really keep ourselves available to like always be able to talk to the other person, but not just that, but like make a point to make sure we FaceTime or something more during those times, or sending stuff in the mail that would help a lot.
Remember I used to send them shirts? Shirts.
Yeah, he would send me one of his shirts that had like his cologne scent and stuff on it.
Oh, that's so nice.
The worn in shirt.
Yeah,
I loved it.
She's like, it's wearing out. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, baby. I'll be up there next month though.
Yeah,
because like by that time it would be close to the time where it would be time for her to come on, or time for her to come, or time for me to go up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that definitely helped.
Yeah, I think I left my drawers.
Okay, thank you for letting us know. I was not expecting that, people.
I was not expecting that.
You left them on purpose. You rascal, you.
Just keep my drawers.
You rascal, you. I don't want your drawers, baby.
I ain't giving you my drawers.
Nah, keep them with you. I take a
whatever works for your relationship.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, listen.
Hey,
what's good for the geese is good for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Whatever y'all need to get through. If that helped you, listen. This ain't for the children. Listen. Wu-Tang is for the children. Relationships chill is not for the children.
It's not for the children.
Yeah, it's not for the children. Please.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, well, if that's what helps you, because I know guys who used to like that kind of stuff. I just personally never was like that. So that definitely can help you in times of need, though. I can understand how guys would need it. So hold on, let me ask you a question about that. So you left him on purpose, or he asked you to leave him?
I think it was both of us. I think.
Who was
the drawers was on the floor.
And you just said, "Hey."
I was getting ready to go my way, and he went his way. I said, "All right, now
you just gonna leave him,
drawers, baby." Go on, baby. Yep. Take them drawers.
But
oh my goodness,
I think in order to make it work, though, seriously, you have to start with the right attitude about it. There's a lot of people that's going to tell you it doesn't work, but there's a lot of people that's going to tell you that marriage doesn't work. There's a lot of people that are going to tell you that relationships don't work. There's a lot of people that's going to tell you a lot of things, and where you allow yourself to listen to or be heard or hear from is going to deter you from doing a lot of things. And a lot of people miss out on great opportunities because of their limited beliefs about certain things that they haven't really ever experienced. And even if you have experienced it, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be like that the next time, because if that's the case, there's no point for most women to even try to be in another relationship.
That's right.
So I think your mentality has to be right first. And I think you have to be in a state of allowing anyway, be in a state of neutrality, because you don't know where that person is going to be. You don't know if you're going to meet them online. You don't know if you're going to meet them at the train station, at the airport, at the gym. You know what I'm saying? You don't know if you're going to meet them, you know, at the grocery store,
right?
You know, wherever. I mean, there's so many places that we go, but you got to know where you are first. If you're not in that zone where you can be open to meeting somebody, I think it's going to be hard for you to meet somebody anyway. I don't think it's going to be any different online, offline.
Right.
Right.
So it's all in your mind first, and then I think you have to allow that person to be themselves, like to get to know the person on a personal level, and not put your own don't put your own or other people's understanding or, you know, other people's views in the situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or their limitation.
Their limitations too. You can't allow that, because they'll come in and mess yours up because you don't know what they got going on. They could be going through some with their significant other.
Right.
And they just talking from the hurt that they're experiencing.
Exactly.
You know,
and usually that's what people do.
Yeah, but they probably with their mate in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They got their spouse, the person they talk about, live locally or in the house with them, and they having them problems.
That's right.
So I don't think a long distance relationship is the cause of problems. I think people are the cause of problems in relationships.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, distance really has very little to do with the problems that people have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, but that is a good thing regardless. If you find out information, and just, I always believe, like, if something happens or something I don't want, I'm going to find out. Like, that was my mentality going in. So in anything I go into, I just believe that the Most High won't let me be blinded to certain things that affect me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not for a duration. I know I'm gonna find out whatever it is regardless eventually. And
that's right.
But at the end of the day, like, I just deal with people how they are and not how people tell me I should think they are.
Exactly.
Y'all got anything? You got anything, Christina, about that?
No.
How can they help?
Good.
How could they start the process of, you know, finding somebody regardless of where they are? How can they? But obviously, in long distance relationship, the distance is going to be the issue off the top.
Yeah, it will. You know, a lot of people are very uncomfortable with the idea of long distance relationships, not just because of the physical intimacy thing, but, you know, we've got now, and, you know, well, nowadays it's a little bit easier to know if somebody's catfishing you.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we do have, like, we in that age where people catfish. They take people photos and they take people videos, and they, you know, they use those and kind of fool people. And then a lot of people feel like, you know, well, hey, well, what about like the cheating aspect and the trust thing? You know, again, these are their own issues and their own ideals and their own imagination. So at the end of the day, it really, like, whether the person was in a long distance relationship or something up close and personal, they'd probably be going through the same exact, you know, scenarios, because it's already in their mind. That's what they have the expectancy for. So that's probably what they're going to get.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Like you said, catfishing. You know, the thing is, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, there's people that get catfished in person every day. You got people that's been married for 10, 20 years. They get catfished when they find out their spouse is with the same sex, or their spouse. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So they got catfished all along themselves. Nothing worse than a 20-year catfish, rather than a, you know, 2-month, 3-month catfish. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be catfished for 2-3 months and then figure it out than 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it is. So,
wow.
But I don't think you can, you know, in your mind worry about that, because there's so much stuff to worry about, period. There's diseases to worry about. If you just worry, there's so much stuff you can find to worry about. But I think if you believe in the best in this life, that this life has to offer, should come to you, I think that's the perfect place to start too, is believing that this life has the best to offer to you, and that you're worth having the best, regardless of where that person may live at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course you want to move closer eventually. You don't want to just live your whole life in a long distance relationship. And I think that's part of the fear that people have, is they think that, for one thing, they're going to cheat on them. That's number one. If you can get that out the way, that'll be done. But that person will never make the sacrifices to move closer to you.
Yeah.
That's right.
Have
you guys ever watched Grace and Frankie on Netflix?
I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Grace and Frankie, is a really funny. It's kind of like a comedy. But what happens is with Grace and Frankie is that they find out that their husbands, who were very best friends, or who they thought were best friends, were lovers for over 20 years.
Mm.
And so, I believe the premise is basically they decide that they're going to tell their wives, and they sit their wives down and let them know, hey, listen, this has been going on for 20 something years. We're in love, and now we want a divorce.
See, one thing we don't do, and I love about us, baby, is we don't allow a lot of stuff into our relationship. We don't allow a lot of stuff into our house and into our relationship. Like,
Yeah.
we're pretty PG-13 when it comes to TV.
Yeah.
Because we know how important the influences are that come into your eye gate and ear gate. So we limit that kind of stuff because we'll rather spend a lot of that time being with each other or doing stuff that's productive for the relationship as a whole or for our individual lives. Like, of course we watch TV, but we watch like Grey's and stuff like Grey's Anatomy and
Or my
just
dance shows. Or
or Supernatural is my show.
Yeah.
But
really?
That's my show. But I don't really like to watch a lot. Like, I don't watch the news because you're allowing a lot of fear, a lot of stuff like that to come into your life.
I so agree with that.
My grandma, she every time I go over there, she got the news on, and man, it's the most depressing thing ever. You just think, I don't want to leave here because I might get stabbed or shot or ran over or, you know what I mean? Just something crazy, because stuff is always happening. But if you think about it, a lot of that stuff is what causes people to live in fear and to be sheltered in their own little small shell, and they never progress.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think first limit the exposure to all kinds of information, because we know the world is bad. You don't have to watch TV to tell you that the world is bad. The news ain't telling you nothing new.
Exactly.
It may be new how it's happening right now, but it's been the same thing since the beginning of time. People gonna die, people gonna get killed, people gonna do whatever, but they know and they sensationalize it because they're playing on people's fears.
Exactly. I totally agree with that.
So we cut out a lot of that stuff, and we don't have cable or anything like that. We have Netflix and all that kind of stuff, Hulu, but we can dictate what comes in as opposed to them dictating what they want to feed us.
Exactly.
But we started that in a long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Exactly. Yep.
Oh,
Well, I was doing it before, but just as a couple, we started that in the distance of the relationship. We talked about this kind of stuff. We had lengthy conversations about what happens as you allow certain things in. Just when you watch a program, just see the difference in your life for the next 3 days. See how your thoughts change and how they affect the things that happen around you.
That's a smart experiment.
Just watch it.
Interesting.
And then you got to ask yourself, what price are you willing to pay for real love? Is it worth the distance to find somebody that you can spend the rest of your life with? I would pay that price every day.
Mm-hmm.
I know I would. Absolutely.
I would, because now that we've had this long distance relationship, I see why I think you have to have more self-control to be in a just regular relationship.
Yeah.
Because the sexual part of it does kind of shift the balance of the relationship. That's cool, but you want more sex.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? You never not want more sex. So that's going to always be a part of the equation. But it's like, what else are we building on? We found the thing that we want to eat always, but we ain't got no substance. We ain't got no size. We ain't got no, you know what I mean? We ain't got no beverage with it. All we got is a sex life.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have the friendship. We don't have the communication aspect. We don't have the ability to work through our problems. We don't have none of that kind of stuff. All we got is we just solve our problems with sex.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking, like, now at the end of this podcast, I'm thinking everybody should have a long distance relationship.
I know. It's
That's
so
the way to
funny,
go,
but
people.
I think it is. I mean,
It's a good training.
all right.
Like,
yeah, it is.
this skills and the type of personality and that you need to have a healthy and like great long distance relationship is what's gonna help you with the long term
Right.
relationship. Yeah.
It's good skill building. It's like an obstacle course for relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as there's like a common, like you said, goal that they're like they're working towards. Like they're like, okay, yeah, it's long distance for either X amount of years, X amount of months, or whatever. But this is why, and we're working towards this,
Right.
As opposed to just this like endless, who knows when type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could be for a certain amount of time, but at least I guess the progress too within the relationship, like as long as it's progressing and going somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely got to be moving somewhere.
Yeah, like I couldn't just, and that's going to help you filter out a lot quicker
Whether or not you want
who's the right person.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
you.
Whether or not you're going to continue with them.
Right.
I always look at it like a sample size or trial size version of a relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get the first 7 days free. After that, it's time to pay.
Yeah.
You got to pay up. We're going to give you a free 7 days. Don't forget to, cancel it because we're going to charge your credit card. So make sure you check every P and Q. What I like to do in that situation, I go straight to iTunes as soon as I sign up and I click unsubscribe because then they automatically stop billing you.
Oh, that's the truth.
Yeah, they stop billing you the same day. They don't do it automatically. So anyway, that's just my little tidbit. Don't forget who you got that from. But yeah, I just think the mentality is the first start of a great relationship, regardless whether it be long distance or not. You have to have the right mentality that you're worthy of having a great relationship. But you have to know why you're worthy of having it. Because you can be worthy of a great relationship, but if you don't know what you have to offer in that relationship, then it's going to seem more like an obligation to be with somebody. Mm-hmm. Meaning that, you know what I mean? Like, meaning, okay, you're supposed to be with me. As opposed to like, oh, you bring value to my life. So like me having you in my life is a benefit to me. Right. And I benefit you because I bring this into your life.
Right.
So we're both benefiting each other. But it's like when you feel like you don't have much to offer or that person doesn't have much to offer you, you feel like, well, we're just together just because we're together. It's more of an obligation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But that's definitely something you can learn in a long distance relationship. I'm a big proponent of long distance relationship, if y'all can't tell, because obviously it worked for me. And
me too.
Coach
That's
Christina.
for all of us.
Yeah, for all of us.
Yeah. We happy, y'all. So
I know, I mean, I think, but the sex part is that's the beautiful thing about it. I'm going to end mine on this, but that's the beautiful thing about it is because the sex part of the relationship is an added benefit. It's not something that is predicated. The relationship shouldn't be predicated on sex. And I know nowadays we're living in a very carnal society where sex is like the dominant focus. Like I see women talking about like I'm in a sexless marriage and all that stuff. Now I ain't saying going, cause I know a lady that hadn't had sex in 10 years with her husband, so that's a long time. Yeah, I know. So I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about nothing like that. But just like,
my goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
10 days.
I ain't say she wasn't having sex. I just said she wasn't having sex with her husband.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But on that note, they were living in the same house. So that goes to show it ain't got a hill of beans and a bean factory to do with distance.
Exactly.
It's the internal distance.
A hill of beans.
Oh shoot!
That was good.
There's a gem.
There's a big gem. And I ain't talking about the one you work out in. But
be no harm.
Y'all got anything else on this subject?
No. I guess it's pretty clear our verdict.
Yeah, we pretty much
sealed it tight.
Yeah.
We are pro long distance.
Pro distance. Long as the
Pro
as the relationship distance, the intimate distance is far.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so important. So important.
Yeah.
Physical long distance is fine.
Yeah.
Not internal.
Nah, that's the main thing. I think that's the gem of the show.
Yep.
For real, the internal distance. All that matters is the internal distance, not the physical distance.
Not the physical.
Mm-hmm. So get close to each other, and it's out there for you to get. Love is out there for you to get. Just keep listening to Relationships and Chill, because we dropping jewels, gems, and bombs on you. Tell your mama them, tell your aunties, your cousins, tell them all. We dropping love. We dropping. We ain't even dropping love languages. We dropping love body languages, I guess.
That's it. But don't tell my mama. I don't want to know about my drawers being on.
Nah, don't tell mama that. Boy, I don't know.
Tell mama about
Stinlin, you definitely time for you to go to bed. It has been a very interesting episode. We learned something new. We learned relationships, the distance of a relationship is not important as much as the internal distance. The physical distance is not as important as the internal distance. And we learned that never, ever have Christina Lynn come over to your house. She dropping off draws. That's been today's show, y'all. Dropping off draws with Christina Lynn. That's gonna be after dark hours.
The new segment.
Yeah, the new segment after hours. Dropping draws with Christina.
Dropping draws.
It's been real, y'all. Y'all keep being positive. Love is out there. It's great relationships are out there. Whatever you need in this life is out there. Our aim is to make relationships great again, as y'all very well know. So, but that will pretty much conclude this episode, y'all. If y'all have any more questions or comments or concerns, or y'all want to get in touch with anybody, where can they find you, baby?
You can find me on Instagram. My IG handle is @CoachAlulu. I'm pretty much on there all the time, so you can just send me an email or message if you want to reach out to me.
Where say ye, Coach Christina Lynn, where can they find you at?
You guys can find me also on Instagram, and I am at Coach Christina Lynn. And you guys can anytime drop me email in my DM. You can holler at me also. So thank you guys again for listening. We love you so much.
And you guys can always reach the main contact, the main email address for Relationships and Chill is contact@relationshipsandchill.com. You can find us on Instagram at Relationships and Chill. You can also find us on Facebook at Relationships and Chill, and on YouTube, Relationships and Chill TV. I am Coach R. Anthony. If you want to look me up at Coach R. Anthony, that's where you can find me. And that's been today's episode of Relationships and Chill. We'll catch you guys on the next go round. You guys, peace and blessings. We love you all. And good, whatever it is, day, night, evening, whatever. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to Relationships and Chill. For more information on cultivating the relationship of your dreams, please follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Relationships and Chill, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Relationships and Chill TV. You can also visit our website at www.relationshipsandchill.com. Together, let's make relationships great again.